How would you like to grow your business the easy way, and in my humble opinion, the fun way, through speaking? Yes, you can literally speak your way to more business, and we can show you how. When I started my coaching business 15 years ago, I struggled making only $900 in the first 2 years. Yeah, you heard that right. Less than $1,000 in 2 years. The problem? I was busy running around to networking events and handing out business cards, trying to help everyone, everyone. Then I took the stage for the first time in my life and began speaking and teaching about the strategies I coached on. And when I really got my message dialed in, my business went literally from 3 figures a year to 7 figures. The secret I finally realized is that when you take the stage, you instantly become seen as the leading voice in your niche or industry. Today, we show entrepreneurs just like you and just like I was how to dominate your niche by becoming the leading voice, not just another expert. We run an incredible business mastermind speaker training program. It's called The Leading Voice. You guessed it. If you head over to leadingvoiceplatform.com/podcast and grab my free roadmap, 8 Pillars to Profitable Speaking. This free roadmap outlines the exact 8 secret weapons you need to truly become the leading voice in your niche. This is exclusively for my podcast listeners. You go to leadingvoiceplatform.com/podcast and start speaking your way to more business.
Welcome to the Driven Entrepreneur, where we sit down with visionaries, trailblazers, and entrepreneurs and discover why and how they do what they do. We'll get the backstory, plus plenty of life and business lessons along the way. Here's your host, Matt Brauning.
Broadcasting from the Leadership Academy studios, aka my new basement. Welcome to the Driven Entrepreneur, the go-to plan for coaches, authors, speakers, and entrepreneurs, of course, of all kinds, to start, grow, and profit a business that you love. I'm your host, Matt Brauning, and today we are opening it up to some incredible entrepreneur guests. As you know, we are in full pre-release mode for my brand new book that we're co-authoring with some incredible entrepreneurs and individuals called Driven to Courage: How to Deal with the Unexpected and Come Out Stronger. And today we have one of our authors from the book is going to be joining us for a really fun and interesting interview. She has an incredible story of overcoming that I can't wait for her to share with you, as well as some really interesting strategies in business as it pertains to TikTok exclusively, and how to use TikTok, not just in the TikTok world, but actually in all of your social media interactions. She's going to help you make your life easier in that space. So, my guest here, Melissa Hughes, she's been booked on the Kelly Clarkson Show twice, featured for the New York Times bestseller Primal Scream on NBC, and she has over 250,000 followers on YouTube, nearly 250,000 followers on TikTok, over 9 million likes, and a gazillion million video views. She's the best-selling author of She Can Laugh and the children's book Mommy Loves You When through Dinosaur Publishing House. And of course, she's a contributing author in Driven to Courage. Without any further ado, Melissa Hughes, welcome to the show. How are you?
Great. I'm super excited to be here today, Matt. You made me sound really good.
Well, I didn't make you sound like anything because you are really good. This comes up a lot too. I think it's interesting. Do you ever feel like you've done a lot of things already in your entrepreneur career and in your life, but when you hear that stuff, sometimes before I go on stage, I hear my bio being read and I go, gosh, like, has this really happened? Like,
yeah.
Does this feel real to you that you've become the person that you are, quote unquote?
No. And I think back to like everything that's kind of like on paper and it all sounds so good. But as you know, even with the book that you're going to be coming out with, the path that you go on to have all those things happen is usually unconventional, unexpected. And there's a lot of things that you learn along the journey. So, yeah.
And you've had a lot of unconventional and unexpected things happen. And that's actually the whole theme of the book, is how to deal with the unexpected and come out stronger. And I think you are one of these people that when I look at you and our friendship we've had for, I don't know how many years now, 6 years, 7 years at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
I watch you and your husband interacting with life and with church and with business and with your kids and just, everything. And it seems like the harder life hits you, which it has certainly, and we'll get into some of those stories. You both have always responded with an incredible resilience, but also an incredible disposition to it. When you were growing up, can you kind of, I don't know, catch us up a little bit? I know when you're growing up, you talk a lot about how life wasn't as hard as it was for some other people. And you kind of had those rose-colored glasses. And it wasn't until later in life that you really started walking through some real challenges of your own. Tell us briefly kind of what was it like growing up and what was not having challenges? What does that look like?
This is such a good question, Matt. Yeah, it's so funny because I genuinely feel like I lived that classic American girl lifestyle that you see in movies. Where, like, just to paint a picture for you, Matt, I was homecoming queen of my high school. I drove around in a white convertible, and I literally would spend my weekends driving around with the top down, music blaring with my friends.
Homecoming queen, really?
Yes, I was.
I always dreamed, what would it be like to be a homecoming king, homecoming queen? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, it was
the popular kid.
Yeah, exactly. And everything always went well for me. And things always worked out. And my friends would actually always say that about me. They're like, just seems like stuff just always works out for you. And so I kind of went into adulthood with like, just that mentality. There was this sense about me that like skies were the limit. Nothing could hold me down. Whatever I set my mind to was going to happen. And it did. And it was just like, it really was like roses, Skittles, and sunshine. Not to say that there weren't challenges growing up, everybody has those like things that they go, but after hearing a lot of other people's stories growing up, mine was pretty idealistic.
Yeah, you're not walking through abuse, you're not walking through significant loss, you're not walking through any of that type of thing. How much do you feel like of that? And we'll get into this as we get into your story a little more. How much of that Skittles and rainbows you now as a mother yourself look to your kids and say, hey, because I love that. I want you to believe that the sky's the limit and you can do anything. And guess what? I did, and you can too. And I see you with your kids. I know that that's part of it. Do you now temper that with part of the reality of, hey, and, we get tested and there's hard things and here's what how do you approach motherhood in relationship to your childhood?
These are amazing questions, Matt.
Just up in this weird brain of mine.
Yeah, I actually literally had this exact situation yesterday. My daughter, we were getting bikes out of the garage and my daughter couldn't seem to like pull her bike out because there was stuff in the way. And she just sat on the floor and started crying. And I don't know what other parents do, and don't judge me, but I was just like, well, baby, gonna have to figure that out. And I really literally saw myself in like my early 20s, how I would respond to life if just things didn't work out. It's like you just sit down and you think, oh, well, I tried it this way, and so it must not work. But
I guess God doesn't want me to go for a bike ride today.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. But it's like, I really want you to like think, like, how can you get that bike? What can you move? How can you figure it out? So I did not help her. I coached her from afar. Think about it, baby. Stand up, figure it out. What are you going to do? How can you make this work? Rather than rescuing her. So that is like just a small picture of kind of how I have appreciated resilience.
Do you feel like, did you get rescued as a younger girl, whether you realized it or not at the time? Was that a lot of like, kind of sometimes how things worked out was, mom or dad or someone kind of swooped in and, if the ice cream fell, boom, magically they bought new ice cream, that kind of a thing?
Yes.
You did have some of that. Okay.
Yes.
And now I love that you're bringing the power and the positivity to it, but you're also bringing the capability, right? And and empowering your children. I think that's awesome. So when you start growing up, tell us a little bit about this story of long before you're having the dream of entrepreneurship. You already wrote your book, She Can Laugh. Tell us about the genesis of that real quick, because I don't think I've heard that story. Is what sparked the idea of, I'm not a quote unquote entrepreneur, but I want to write a book. I have something to say. How did that come about, and what did you learn from it?
I think, Matt, I've really always had a heart that has really wanted to encourage. I think that's like my heart. I want to encourage people. I want to help people. I want to serve people. And I honestly, it did not come from this thing of, I want to make money. I want to be an author. It was, hey, this would be really cool to do, to like write a book. And at the time, this was before everybody was all gung ho about holistic health. But I had this like heart of thinking, man, I would love to help women just be empowered in how like they pursue their life and their dreams. And kind of the revelation that I walked in at that time is like, go for it. And like, don't let life hold you back, and let go of some of that fear, and like, really pursue your dream life and don't live in the mundane. And so that was kind of the premise of it. And like the thing, I just saw a lot of people were living lives and having jobs that just didn't get them excited in the morning. And I thought it would be awesome to create a book that helps women live holistically healthy and pursue their dreams.
That's so awesome. And I love that you just were like, you know what? I think that's a little bit of that homecoming queen coming out, right? Like, you know what?
Yeah.
I want to share a book and a story, so I'm going to. Like, let's just do that. And then it came together wonderfully. In fact, I think you published the same publishing house, our friend Josh Best, with Preston and Press, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the same publishing house that we did for the Firebox Principle, the last book too. So that was really fun to see you. In fact, we did a book launch event, and your books were there, my books were there, and that was a pretty special thing back in 2018. That's so neat to see. So
yeah.
Now, was the book coming out, the She Can Laugh book, was that before you moved to the UK to plant the church, or was that after? That was before, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. We were in edits and like finalizing everything around that first year that I was there, but I had pretty much finished writing it before we had gone.
Okay, so it was right around that time. So walk us through this. So homecoming queen, author, Skittles, everything's great. You are pretty well freshly married, or in the first few years, and you and your husband are praying to decide and hear that you're going to go to the UK, to a small little valley in the country of Wales, which is a real country, guys. It's west of England. It's a real country. I've been there, visited you guys over there actually, and to plant a church. Tell us about like what happens when you hit the ground, and obviously everything worked out wonderfully. You hit the ground running, but yeah, tell us a little bit about kind of that story of what that's like to go get this dream and this vision of what you're supposed to do, and then you go to execute it. And I know it didn't turn out exactly how you thought it was. Fill us in on that a bit.
Yeah. So we originally actually had planned to move to Bristol in England, it's this really cool, thriving city in England. We were super excited to move there. I mean, yeah, we were newly married and everything. We land, and a month after like kind of getting settled there, which we didn't, we were staying with friends. We were looking for a place to live and everything like that. I got a phone call one day as I'm sitting in one of the most beautiful cities in the UK, in Bath, sipping on a cup of tea, eating a scone with jam and cream. And it was my husband. And he said that he had been in a minor car accident and he just needed me to come to the hospital. And because he was so calm, I thought that it was like he had maybe just gotten into a fender bender, and I don't know, he said he bumped his leg. So I turn up at the hospital. Yeah. Turn up at the hospital, walk in, and he is stretched out on a hospital bed with tubes everywhere, completely out of it, high as a kite on drugs. Nurses are scurrying about, and my heart hits the floor. And he was in a horrific car accident, really should have died. And from that point, Matt, we found out that he was going to be bedridden for a year, unable to work. I was unable to work because of my visa, and he was going to need me as his full-time carer.
So that's two reasons you can't work.
Yes.
Even if you could, you couldn't, right?
Yes. Living in another country with now no car, no place to live, no furniture, away from family. And I found out I was pregnant. So.
Wow. So not exactly. I mean, I feel like you were like walking down this road of everything is kind of expected and like working, and then it's like hit. What's your initial reaction? Because again, the whole theme of this book that we're writing together is how to deal with the unexpected and come out stronger. And again, I want to bring that in so people understand there's victory in this, and you are definitely one of the people, like all of our authors, who found the victory on the other side, right? As you walk through these things. But what's the initial reaction when you, I guess, I don't know, did you come to grips with it right away? Did it take weeks or months to really sink in of what the new situation is when you have a vision of what's supposed to be, and now that vision changes?
Yeah. No, Matt.
No.
I thought, oh, this is just a little hiccup. This is just a little bump in the road. And I really, truly did not. I honestly thought in my head, well, you know what? God's obviously called us here. We have a vision and everything's going to get better. Everything's going to be great. Why would we feel like God called us here for it to be not good? And I have to tell you this too, Matt, just to paint a further picture, but the only place that would rent to us as well at that point was a funeral home. So we lived on top of a funeral home, and we could no longer live in Bristol. We did end up living in a valley in Wales, and we lived there. And then the next place the only place that would rent to us was a cemetery. That was where we lived. It was a funeral home and a cemetery. And even I couldn't
not write this story better.
I know.
Wow. And guys, paint this picture. So I've been out there and we visited, and I've actually been to both those places. She's not kidding. They were living above a funeral home. There are hearses driving in and out, right? It's a commercial funeral home with a little like apartment on top, right? And what was you shared one of these stories recently when you were speaking, I think at our Leading Voice Summit, the Best Speaker Ever event. You were talking about how you be like maybe lying in bed and you're upstairs and you can hear there's like a funeral going on. There's a full service.
We'd always hear the songs. A lot of people love Celine Dion at their funeral. We'd be laying there. Obviously, my husband was just totally out of it because he was on so much pain medication. But yeah, it'd be Celine Dion or the organ music coming up from the floorboards every morning. It was
leave it to Celine Dion to set the mood.
Oh yeah.
Funeral? Oh my gosh. So you're stepping into this. Your husband is beginning the recovery process. You're learning how to caretake. You're figuring out how to make ends meet, what's going to happen while you're still living here. What I find interesting is I think most people would, once he's stable and able to travel, most people would say, hey, gigs up. Obviously the UK was supposed to be great, but we didn't anticipate this. And, he can't work and I can't work and he's massively injured and we're not going to plant the church same way as we figured. And now I'm pregnant. Let's come back home. You didn't come back home.
No.
Was there ever discussion of coming back home? Did you say, could we do this? Could we do that? Or was it always, no, this is not an option. We know we're supposed to be here. Walk us through kind of the decision of what it looks like to move forward.
Yeah, to be honest, man, like during that time, there was never even a thought in my head that we were going to go back. I just felt so confident that we were supposed to be there. And I felt it's weird in the midst of like all of the challenge, like I felt peace about being there. And I felt such a compassion. We lived in one of the poorest areas in the UK, and I felt a huge compassion for the people. And like, I love the people there and loved the connections we were making. And I felt like we were doing a good thing. It's just us personally, we were just struggling. It started out like with that situation, but then we were struggling to make money. Obviously we couldn't work, and just one thing after another for the next 3.5 years just seemed to go wrong. I can't even, it's the craziest things would just happen to us. That saying, everything you touch turns to gold. It was like everything we touched turned to crap. In the sense of, I had one situation, I had a lady start stalking me on Facebook, found out where I lived, came to our house when I had my children, like just weird stuff that you can't explain. And it just was, nothing felt happy outside of the fact of like having faith and hope that things would maybe turn around.
Yeah. And you're talking about, again, to set the stage, this is like what, a 4-year-ish kind of journey of
Yes.
staying the course. What
Yes.
advice do you have for someone who feels like they might be in the midst of their living by the cemetery in Wales season in life? And it's like, maybe you're a couple years, you don't know how long it's going to go, but you know that you got to get through it. You know, you're supposed to be here. You know, there's something good on the other side, but I'm getting weary and I'm getting tired in the moment. What got you through those nights when you thought, I can't get through this?
Yeah. Man, Matt, I'm going to write a book on this because I get emotional thinking about that moment because it was so real for me at that time. But one of the biggest moment, like one of the most kind of turning point moments for me was I had a friend call me and she asked me, Melissa, how are you doing? And I was just struggling, but I didn't want to kind of say I was struggling. And she said, how are you doing? I said, we've had some challenges, but I've got faith. And I think for Christians, if you are a person who has faith or believes in God, there's almost this shame attached if you're really honest about what you think, because you feel like it has something to do with God and your faith. And that was kind of a belief system that I had that I didn't realize I had. But she just said to me on the phone, Melissa, it's okay to just say that things are really hard right now. And I couldn't come to grips with it because I would have to answer a question that I was just totally unprepared to answer, which was, so if God is good, then why would he call us into something so bad? And I was really having this like personal faith crisis, wondering like, is God really good? And for me, Matt, like the foundation of everything that I do has kind of rested on the goodness of God. How can you trust somebody unless you believe they're good? And so when I started to like look around at our life and like kind of everything that was happening on the outside, I just thought I honestly, finally being honest, I'm struggling to believe that God is good. And he's always been good to me, but is God still good when life is bad? And I didn't have an answer.
Wow. And that's real. That's a very real moment. And I just love even you talking about it now. I can feel it, as a Christian myself, I can feel that nipping of guilt of like, even like, oh, can we talk about this? Like, if you say, well, I struggle to know, is God always good? You have to almost clarify and say, well, I know he is, right? Let's like, I have to tell people that I know it's okay, and I just love that you're like, well, this is exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Growing up, it's like, I know he's good and everything was good. But it is easy to have faith when things are working out. And when things don't work out, it's like, well, what does that mean? So I know we've talked about this quite a bit, but again, I'm going to keep saying this. Let's catch up all our listeners on kind of what happens next. So now you're having this, I don't know if you call it a crisis of faith or you have it a big question mark, but you have this thing where like, okay, God, I need to know what the heck. I need to know what the truth is here. And you started praying. Tell us about that moment when he starts speaking to you and you start understanding why you're here and what you have in store next.
Yes.
This is my favorite part of your story because it just, sometimes you just don't expect it, right?
Yes. It was really then like wrestling and like leaning into the pain. It sounds weird, but you almost have to lean into the pain. And as I was praying about it one day, I really felt God like put on my heart that while I so desperately wanted a pain-free life, he was entrusting to me a profound life. And I just had this realization that you can't have a triumph without a tragedy. You can't love deeply or risk greatly without experiencing heartache and struggle and disappointment. And those words actually came to me from a chapter in a book. It's from this man, Erwin McManus. The book is Artisan Soul. I encourage anyone to read it. Yeah.
Yeah. Pastor of Mosaic Church out in LA, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Erwin, phenomenal speaker, and he knows his stuff.
He does. And he talked, and in the book, he even mentioned like not even Jesus could pull it off. Like, while he had the crowds, he had the miracles, he had the healings, but then he had the cross, he had the betrayal, he had the suffering. And I just finally, like, it all made sense that like life, and I'm an Enneagram 7, Matt, any Enneagram fans out there. So maybe this might hit it home, but it's really about living this profound life. And God, he really spoke to me, and it was this understanding that mountaintop experiences are for sights and inspiration, but the fruit grows in the valleys. And I literally was living in a valley, and I started to see how, well, this pain and this like difficulty that I'm going through, I don't know how it's going to turn out good, but I know that fruit is going to come from this season. And I know that there's something, like there's a purpose for the pain, and I'm living my most profound life by embracing all aspects of our life and our walk with God and this journey called life.
And see, to me, when you say that, I feel now more inspired by like, oh my gosh, it's so hard, but we're gonna get through this. Mm-hmm. That is so much more inspirational than, hey, life is good. It's great to have moments, right? Seasons when life is good, but it's just way more inspirational when life is bad. But we're gonna do something. We're gonna get through that. And then again, I know you're now praying. You're figuring out what is coming next. What is coming next, God? What do you have for me? And He says, you hear the weirdest thing, which I think, again, one of my favorite parts of your story. Tell us because you have a major transition coming up. You're coming back to America at this point.
Yeah.
It's a few years in, and now you're like, well, we're here and we got through this, but like for what purpose? I think is really what the question is. And what do you hear about that and what's coming next?
He just randomly started putting on my heart to like start posting videos on social media. And it was so like out of left field, but I was like really like everywhere I looked, I felt like that was what was coming up. So I ended up talking to my husband about it. I said, hey, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm supposed to give my time to putting videos out there on social media. I don't really know about what. So we literally held hands one night, prayed this super simple prayer. God, if Melissa's supposed to give her time to like social media or posting videos, would you just make it clear? And then 5 days later, Matt, I randomly uploaded this video on a platform that I'd kind of heard of called TikTok. And it was a video platform, but I was just trying to figure out how to even post on there. And I uploaded this video of my kids sledding. And the next morning I woke up and that video generated 22 million views. And I landed a spot on the Kelly Clarkson show.
What? And what's the time frame? Tell us again.
It was 5 days from the time that we
here.
Prayed.
You're supposed to do it.
Yes.
5 days later, you're like, let me just film this random sledding. Which, by the way, guys, what's your TikTok handle? Make sure if you're on TikTok, obviously follow Melissa because your stuff's really good. But I love if it's still up there, right? Your original, original video. It's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell us because we have a long form interview here. What was the segment on the Kelly Clarkson show that you landed on?
It was awesome. It was all about mom fails. And I loved that I got to represent the mom community that feel like they just fail all the time.
Yeah. And here's the great thing. You're not failing, but the video so looked like a fail. It was absolutely hilarious. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's sledding and you're going to pop and it's so worth watching. So go throw Melissa a follow on TikTok at what?
Or Melissa Lee Hughes. Yeah.
Melissa Lee Hughes, Lea, middle name, Melissa Lee Hughes on TikTok.
Yeah.
You're M Hughes 79. I just looked it up right here. I got it on my chart, Melissa.
Yes, I just changed my name because
you did? Never mind.
That was what was auto generated from TikTok when I didn't know how to post and I just left it there. And then someone recently was like, you've kind of moved on from being like that newbie on the platform. You should probably change your name. So
yeah, now you have almost 250,000 followers. You should probably update from like best mom high five 8265. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. So you have now, and again, what I love so much about your story, but one of the things I love so much about it is the obscurity of the direction and the vision for your next seasons. And sometimes in life and sometimes in business, it really is that way.
Yeah.
When we listen and follow God's wisdom, when you hear that gut, your intuition saying, hey, this is the direction. it doesn't always make sense, but when you really know that you know that you know, you follow it, and that's the kind of thing that should, happen. Now, if you heard you're supposed to go on social media and you started posting videos and you did it for 3 years straight and no one ever watched and you're getting burned out and frustrated and maybe, right, maybe we heard wrong. But this is not the case for you.
Yeah.
You've gone on and you really encourage the mom community, the faith community, and everything that you're talking about in your stories on TikTok. But then more recently, in the last little while, last year or so, you really started turning your skills and talents and gifting in this that you've been using so much to grow your platform. And you started helping me and started helping people in my community. And that's where, we started to say, okay, well, let's get you in the book and let's do more and more things together here. What do you want? What should I know? I don't think I can even lead this interview anymore. I'm going to turn it over to the educational side, this educational part of our conversation for this last session here. What do I need to know as a business owner, as an entrepreneur about TikTok? What is it? Should I be on it? Who shouldn't be on it? Anything that I need to know that I don't even know to ask, the floor is yours. Please help us all.
Okay. So Matt, I'm going to say something that's a little hard to hear. So are you ready? Okay.
I'm ready.
With social media right now, for any person listening, any business owner, any person trying to do marketing on social media, if your plan is to continue posting static images on your social media platforms, you are going to be left behind. You have got to learn, any person listening, how to create short form video. And with TikTok, the reason why this platform really actually was a social media disruptor in 2020 when it took off, because of the popularity. It is the second most downloaded app right now. And the amount of time it's taken to become the second most downloaded app is immensely shorter. I think it's in 3 years is what TikTok took to get to where Instagram was. So, and if you look at the trends of how Facebook started, and then all the young people migrated off Facebook and got onto Instagram. And now Instagram has really been the platform for the last 10 years. But now Gen Z is coming up and they're like, oh, Instagram's too curated. It's too polished. It's too professional. That younger generation is moving to TikTok. And the older people are being like, I'm not getting on TikTok. No, I'm on too many platforms. And they're going to regret it. I don't get all
these weird dancing videos. I don't get it. I don't want to get it.
No, but business owners will regret it because you'll miss out on that early adopter phase to grow more easily and be able to capitalize on the influence and selling from the platform. And so I think a lot of people think that TikTok is just for like the younger generation, but I have seen, me personally, I posted about my kids' book and got 500 sales in a couple days, became a #2 Amazon bestseller, not by messaging people, hey, can you buy my book, and having it on discount, but just because of the opportunity and the virality that is available on TikTok. So
you just let your TikTok people know, hey, I got a new book, and boom, everyone's buying it.
Yeah.
That is so
But what's amazing, Matt, is this is like really important for people to know. Each video that you make can perform on its own. It is not necessarily correlated to the amount of followers that you have, which is why people can get discovered. Whereas on like Instagram, the more followers you have, your video or your content is going to get seen by more people. But on TikTok, each video has the opportunity, if it's good content, to perform on its own, regardless of how many followers. So you could see a video that has 1 million views. You go to the person's profile and they have 15 followers, just like me. My video generated 22 million views and I had 0 followers.
0 followers, no videos.
Yes.
Okay. So if I get that right, then it's some of the other social media, it's very much like follower profile dependent. It's about who's who a lot more. With TikTok, it's really content first. And if it's good content, if it's compelling content, if people, and I see a lot of these like reels. Can you talk a bit about that too? So short form video, reels, Instagram is of course doing those, and Facebook's doing those, and YouTube has YouTube shorts, and just like when Clubhouse came out and made a big splash in the audio world, everyone jumped on board within a few months, and they all have rooms, and it never works the same as the first adopters. right? It never does. I don't know anyone who's ever gone to a Facebook room and tried to do a thing, but Clubhouse was still thriving. TikTok, I feel like, is a lot the same way. There's reels and shorts everywhere, but TikTok is the land of the short videos. So why short videos? I got a couple questions on that. So I guess, why short videos, and is it sustainable in your opinion? Because I think if for me, if we speak to someone's attention span, I see that I'm this old guy who goes, man, this is, the world's going bad. Like, I don't want, right? If everyone has a short attention span, what are we going to go next? It's going to be 2-second videos. It's going to be 1-second videos. I don't like that, but there's something to it that's obviously working. So what's good about the short form video concept and process, and maybe what are drawbacks about it we should know about?
Yeah. So the good thing about it is what I love is it's value packed videos that are like little nuggets of gold that people can get just from going on your page. And, you know, if you think about YouTube, people loved, that was like short form, 10-minute videos, you know, that was like, wow, I can go on YouTube and I don't have to go to college. Like, I can actually learn something from this guy for 10 minutes. And now it's just created a shorter form video that's like, rather than having all this intro and this palaver and this introduction, it's like, just give me the meat and bones. And you can do that in 1 minute. And then people are educated on that platform. And so the short form is really kind of nice for busy people. And I think because there's not all this palaver around it, like an intro and all this
technical
stuff.
term?
Yeah.
Palaver.
Yeah. Palaver. There you go.
I like that. Okay. So with the short form, you're not, because that's one of the barriers, I think, to entry for, you know, I'm going to do a Udemy course, I'm going to do a YouTube channel, is, well, now I need to have a trailer and an open and a close, and I need to edit and 112 jump cuts. And how am I going to do this? But with TikTok, it's very much value is raw, value in authenticity. Yeah.
Yeah. People just want the content. I mean, Matt, I grew my account to over 200,000 followers by posting TikToks in my car on my lunch break while working a full-time job.
That's the best.
So it's like everybody's sitting there with their high-tech quality equipment wanting to get followers, and the people on the screen are like, I just want to connect. So for business owners and entrepreneurs, it's like, look, just say it. Just get in front of the camera and record and give your content away, and you could grow a following.
That's good. So your high quality equipment was your cell phone?
Yep. And my car.
And
great lighting.
But you didn't actually need the car.
Yeah.
You just use the little vanity mirror light and you're good to go.
Yeah.
I love that. You're like, no ring lights, no setup, no studio. And again, it's like you're leaning into what is, and that's actually what makes it work. That's what's so fun. When you go, hey, I don't have a whole studio. Excuse me. That's why, like, in the intro for this show, my new intros, I always start off, my new studio, aka my new basement, because I'm in my basement right now.
Yeah.
But I want you to know that I'm just like you, it's like,
it's
you don't
relatable.
need to have some fancy anything to be able to live your dream and do the thing you want to do. Melissa, you have, and you created a TikTok viral content blueprint. And this is actually very, very cool. Tell us a bit about that, and then where we can grab it, because you are given that as a gift for free, which I think is really, really cool. But it's also, just like all your short form videos, packed full of content and value.
Yeah. So just when I was first starting out on the platform and trying to figure out how to share, I was finding my videos were tanking, and I didn't know why. And then I realized that there's actually a way to communicate value on the app, where you need to first give a hook and then maybe address a pain point, give a value bomb, and then give a call to action. What a lot of people do is they'll open up their video and go, hey guys, I'm just here saying happy Wednesday. And it's like, gosh, you've lost them. So this is really
better than nothing, right? Something's better than nothing, but that's not the way to get engagement.
No. Yeah. So it's really a way to structure your videos.
That's awesome. So it's just a simple little blueprint. You follow, and like you said, it's like, what's there a hook? What's there this? How long does it take you to using your own blueprint? How long does it take you to plan, quote unquote, one of your videos at a lunch break? When you were doing that, I'm sure you'd think about it first. You don't just open your phone like the other people did, as you said, hey guys, but you put a little thought into it and you go, okay, I'm going to talk about this. this is probably my hook. How long does that planning process legitimately take for you?
Yeah. So what I would do, Matt, to be honest, is I would just have ideas when I feel inspired, and I'd keep a running tab of ideas on notes in my phone. And then when I'd sit in my car on my lunch break, I'd just pull up my notes and pick a topic, and it would come from my heart. So to be honest, it was less planned.
It's real.
It was more about what inspires me. And then I'm going to pick from the list of what I really want to talk about today. And I feel like because it's from that place, people can feel that through the screen. And then I would just record. One video could take me, literally 5 minutes. Another video, if I feel like I'm messing up, could take me 15 minutes or a half an hour. But
that's a long time. And that's because you decided to restart or something else like
that.
But all in all, you look at the idea, you get a few minutes, but you're using your content blueprint is the whole key, that you're like, okay, as long as I'm following these principles, however I script it or don't script it or whatever, it's going to work out and people are going to engage. And you have certainly become a master of engagement in there. Where can they get that, and where can they follow you more?
Yeah. So on my website is where you can download that blueprint. It's at www.melissaleahughes@gmail or at
.com.
That's also my, you can email me too.
Now you're about to email Melissa. I like it.
melissaleahughes.com. You can email me at melissa@melissaleahughes.com. Follow me on Instagram, Melissa Lee Hughes, TikTok, Melissa Lee Hughes.
No, we're not going on Instagram to follow you, Melissa Lee Hughes. We're going to go on TikTok and follow you guys. If you don't follow anyone on TikTok, if you don't have any followers, download the app. I follow 2 people, I think, and one of them is Melissa Lee Hughes, because at some point I'm going to get this going. I keep saying that, but I'm really going to get this going. You're the rock star in my backyard that we're going to do this together. It's exciting. Yes. It's awesome. And of course, we have our book coming out. It's in pre-sale right now as we record this through July 15th. So if you want to check out the book and get Melissa's chapter, in the chapter, Melissa writes all about, you write about your story that you share with us, but you go into much more detail. It's an incredible story. And then you share all of your tips and secrets and keys to be able to go viral with TikTok and really take this next season, take control of your business, really, which is taking control of your destiny. I love how your chapter came out. Very, very excited. I really, really like how your chapter came out. It's
thank you.
I just smiled the whole time thinking, man, this is good content. This is something that people need to read. The book is Driven to Courage: How to Deal with the Unexpected and Come Out Stronger. Pre-sale right now. It's $20 for pre-sale. But with that, we're giving a whole pre-sale bundle. It comes with the book, comes with the ebook, it comes with the audio book, all free, all included for the book for just $20. It also comes with 2 tickets to a personal development seminar called Success Revolution. I'll be leading, and a lot of the authors will come to California and be speaking in August. Those tickets are separately $997, and they are being sold to the general public. But right now, if you get the book for pre-sale, you get 2 tickets, completely complimentary. They're part of the package. And every one of the authors gave a huge bonus gift as part of our author co-author gift bundle, and that's all part of that. Shipping's included during pre-sale as well, so a lot of good reasons to get there before July 15th. Go to driventocourage.com/presale and get the book today, and then head to melissaleehughes.com and grab her viral content blueprint, and you can get her books there and follow her and everything, all that good stuff. Melissa, thank you so much for coming on the show. You've been outstanding. Always love connecting with you and always love showing you off for all of my friends here.
Thanks, Matt. It's been an amazing time. Super honored to be here.
All right, guys, that's the show for this week. Thanks again to my guest, Melissa Lee Hughes, TikTok extraordinaire, Kelly Clarkson guest, and co-author of our new book, Driven to Courage: How to Deal with the Unexpected and Come Out Stronger, available for pre-sale, as we said. Make sure you follow Melissa at Melissa Lee Hughes. You can follow me at Matt Brauning on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and probably TikTok. You never know. I might just be on there. Follow me there. And if you want to get any of these past episodes and listen in on some of these incredible stories from driven entrepreneurs just like you, go to mattbrowningpodcast.com. They're all available in the archive right now. Get out there this weekend. You know what to do. Stay driven. I'll see you next week with another Driven Entrepreneur. Bye-bye. Hey, this episode is brought to you by my very own NLP practitioner course. I've been teaching neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, for nearly 15 years. It is the most powerful tool for communication on the planet, and it can be yours today. For a very limited time, I'm giving away my entire NLP course workbook for free. Go to nlpwithmatt.com. All the patterns, all the tools, and the techniques of NLP in the complete course workbook, the same one that we use to teach our live certification classes, yours free. nlpwithmatt.com. Get it today. Let's get back to the show.